Today I'm canning lima beans, and I'll probably have 3 people click on this video to find out how this is done, and 500 will click on it just to say they hate lima beans. I'm not crazy about them myself, but you have to have them in Brunswick stew. You just have to have them in there. And I have a great recipe for Brunswick stew that you can make from food storage. So I'll put a link to that in the description box if you're interested in it. It turns out real good. So I wanted to grow and can some lima beans this year just for this Brunswick stew. So the first thing you need to do is blanch the lima beans for 3 minutes. And I have a pot of boiling water going on here. Drop them in the water. When this water comes back to a boil, then I'll time it for 3 minutes. When you can lima beans, you can can them raw pack if you like. But I don't like to raw pack things, and this is the perfect illustration as to why. If I put those beans into the jar and then process them, all of this would happen inside the jar with the lid on it while it's being canned. And personally, I like to get rid of this type of stuff beforehand. It's worth a little extra effort to cook this for 3 minutes, in my opinion. I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes, and I think this is going to boil over on me. And you see, that'll happen too in the jars. When the foods get hot and expand like that, they can boil over in the jars and spew out of the top, especially if your lid isn't on very tight. So, in my opinion, it's best to go ahead and eliminate these problems up front by spending an extra 3 minutes on it. So I'm going to skim off some of this foam and get rid of it. Okay, I have my jars heating in the canner. I have my lids and rings at a simmer, and the beans are just about ready to be canned up. Okay, the 3 minutes is up, so I take a hot jar, and I'm going to pour this water in a spare pot back here. And just fill the jar with the beans to within 1 inch of the top. Add liquid to within 1 inch at the top. And add half a teaspoon of salt for pints and a teaspoon for quarts. And remove the air bubbles with a non-metallic object. Wipe the rim of the jar clean. Add a hot lid and a ring. And I like to heat my rings, but you don't have to. And I tighten it firmly and set it in the canner to stay warm until I have all the jars full. Okay, I have all of the jars full, and I have the water in the canner. I'm going to put the lid on it and process this for 40 minutes. It would be 50 minutes if I was processing quarts. And I'm doing this at 10 pounds pressure, but you need to adjust the pressure for your altitude and follow your manufacturer's directions for your canner. Okay, when the processing time was complete, I turned off the heat and I let the canner sit for at least 30 minutes to cool down. Then I removed the lid, and I'm going to take the jars out and set them on the counter on a towel to cool. Tomorrow I'll remove the rings, wash the jars, write lima beans on the top, and the date that I canned them. These lima beans were the Florida Speckled variety. As you can see, they lost their purple coloring as they cooked. So that's how you can lima beans, and if you don't like lima beans, don't shoot the messenger. Hope it helps.